Hi, everybody. Yeah, I know it's a commercial, and the Eagles are about to kick a field goal, and the Browns tried to freeze them. But I'm starting the halftime show a little bit early because, well, I'm just that kind of cow. Welcome to the first Moohead Radio halftime show of the 2016 season, with the score shortly to be the Eagles 13 and the Browns 7. Uh, what I can tell you is this: the Cleveland Browns are, what would Denny Green say? They are who we thought they would be. Here's the field goal, and the kick is up, and the kick is good. So now the Browns will just take a knee, and we can get on to the things that we enjoy doing, which is the halftime show. A couple of things that I want to point out about this half of football. One, I think the Browns were shell-shocked when they came out onto the field, and I think that they had scripted plays for Wentz, and not on one occasion did Carson Wentz even have to look at a secondary receiver. Everything he went was to the primary receiver, who was wide open. The Browns couldn't stop them. And I think that, it's not a good thing when your secondary just stands around with their hands in their pockets, but that was basically what was happening. And that's how they got off to that quick lead. I mean, nobody was in Wentz's face. Now, the rest of the half now, they've gotten into his face a little bit, and I think that they've done a number of things that have pressured him, at least, into making some rush throws, have actually gotten a hand on him. Hello, Bronk, and hello, Big Lurker UK, and General Dog, and KJQ, and Mooshell, and the people who are all hanging out in the chat room on mooheadradio.com. Remember, you can watch this halftime show either on the front page of mooheadradio.com or on YouTube if you so prefer. Everybody's still not coagulating and congesting here in the halftime show. Overall, I'll give a quick grade right off the bat for the first half as Robert Griffin gets ready to tear his ACL. I would give this half a C. It was starting out an F. I got to tell you, we're not a very good football team, but at least the effort has been a little bit better in the second quarter of the game. But mistakes are what kill you, and this team cannot so much as afford to make one mistake. And when they do, it's unfortunate. There's a play that runs out of bounds with 21 seconds left as the Browns try to crawl their way down the field. There are some bitter disappointments to me that I'm seeing already. The main one is Corey Coleman. I don't know if this guy knows how to catch a football. He looks like Willis Adams. And for our young fans, you have to go back into the 70s to look up Willis Adams. You can't catch the ball with your body. And I can't believe that a first-round pick catches the ball. Okay, we have Griffin scrambling right now and running out of bounds. Smart move. You can't have a first-round pick catching the ball with his body, trapping it with his chest. I don't get it. Is this something that you see in films when you're watching a guy? I've heard through people I talk with that Coleman puts an enormous amount of pressure on himself, and he looks like he's nervous as hell out there. And what they need to do is just get him something instead of throwing him over the middle on the short, skinny slant where he's going to get hammered. Why don't they just figure out something simple to throw the ball to him so that he can at least, oh my God, that could have been a pick six out of the backfield. The notion of RG3 being an accurate thrower, I think, is being pretty well dispelled, too, during the course of the preseason and now in the first, where are we at, 3rd and 8. Coleman is a bitter disappointment to me. Tramon Williams got burned deep. It was a perfect pass with nobody in Carson Wentz's face. Once Carson Wentz has seen pressure, he suddenly doesn't look like Superman either. And I think that General Dog is correct. Rookie quarterbacks in the league are basically, and there's a first down for the Browns. Get out of bounds. Rookie quarterbacks have a learning curve. And I think it's safe to say that Carson Wentz has, they're going to just call it halftime and that's it, a big learning curve. Hey, Cody, how you doing? Good to see you in the chat room. So I'm not going to entertain people making comments, oh, we could have had Wentz. Can you imagine if Wentz looks this way playing with some quasi-professional people, what would he look like playing for the Cleveland Browns behind the offensive line that he would have in Cleveland? And the answer is not that good. This is a 13-7 game, basically, because the Cleveland Browns, a bad throw by RG3 behind Coleman, and Coleman dropping passes, Barnidge dropping 2 passes. We didn't move the football in the first quarter of the game. We didn't have a first down in the first quarter of the game, and you just can't win that way. As far as the running defense, I think that Philadelphia has gotten some yardage, but nothing broken. It looks to me as if I were the Philadelphia coaches, I would be trying to exploit the Browns defensive line and just run for 5 yards a carry. And I think they could do that. How you doing, Wiley? That's my feeling. But obviously, Doug Peterson wants to, in some measure, give the rookie quarterback an opportunity to go out and do his thing. But I think it would be smart for them to run the football more. As far as the Cleveland Browns are concerned, one running play on the goal line where Isaiah Crowell bounced it outside. Other than that, no running game for the Cleveland Browns. And yeah, the fake punt is the other major disappointing thing. I don't understand personally who would call a fake punt that was so poorly set up. Wouldn't you just call a timeout and stop that before it happened? There wasn't a single blocker on the play. It's hard for me to conceive that somebody actually called that play. And as, it was a dumb call. And if you called it, or if the offensive coordinator or whoever called it, and it did look like total desperation, Bronk. That's what it looked like. They looked like they were shitting their pants, and they felt like, God, if we don't get back into this football game right this minute, we're going to be down 30-0 at the half. That's what it looked like. It really reeked of desperation, and that's not a good thing. Hugh is the offensive coordinator, correct? It was a bad call, and I can't imagine that should have been run in that situation, because poor Duke Johnson was swarmed over by 3 men. There was not at all anybody. Hey, you 4439, how you doing? And Wable, nice to see you guys in the chat room for another season of Cleveland Browns halftime and post-game shows. Yeah, and Bill Smith, hey, how you doing, man? Boy, the gang's all here, huh? I can't imagine that with the defensive line in that alignment that they would have called that play. But, and General Dog, you are correct. Nassib looks good to me. Agba, he batted a pass down. But Nassib not only has gotten through to the quarterback, he actually made Wentz step into Nate Orchard on an incompletion. I think that's a great thing. There's 19 stone hands in the chat room. Doesn't take long for Cleveland fans to get on this. I will say this, Papa, it's great to see Papa Burrell back in the chat room too. It's really good to hear from you. I hope everything's going well for you, Bill. It's been a while since we chatted. Nassib has impressed me. He's a high motor guy. He works real hard. And even if he's not the most athletic guy there is, he is the highest motor guy that we got. And there's a big effort being made by him, and I appreciate that. And I think Cleveland fans will appreciate that too. He's a good blue-collar player for a blue-collar area. General Dog is saying in the chat room that Nassib and Agbo give me hope that we may start to draft well, but Corey Coleman is making me wonder. There should be no reason why a guy's having trouble catching the football at this level like that. I don't get it. Danny Shelton, here's the thing about Danny Shelton. He did make a play where he tripped somebody toward the backfield, and it was like a 1 yard or 2 yard gain. Danny Shelton, in my mind, is a guy who's going to be taking on a lot of interior blockers. the way we judge Danny Shelton is he's not going to be a pass rusher, and he is not Michael Dean Perry. I think the defensive line just has to work to stop the run, and he has to be part of it. But, I don't think that he is a dominant type of player. I think that he needs to do the best he can to kind of stand his guys up, and they just need to stack up the line of scrimmage. And Pryor, the one catch he bobbled, that's, again, this is a guy making a transition from being a quarterback into being a receiver. The catch that he made downfield was a tremendous catch. And I think what you have to do when you're talking about Terrell Pryor is to recognize what the Browns would look like with Josh Gordon on the field, because Pryor is not a number one receiver. He is a number two deep threat guy. And with Josh Gordon on the field, it would make a life miserable for defensive secondaries with two guys with that kind of speed and that kind of height. So you really have to factor in when you see Terrell Pryor, don't be too hard on him in one regard, that, he may not, he ran a nice little sideline pattern, a nice stutter step, and the defensive back almost fell down. He's running his patterns well. He's doing what he's supposed to do. But don't expect him, until Josh Gordon is around, to really be able to take over, and become a big play guy when Coleman's not even catching the ball. I don't understand why Hawkins is even still with this team. And hi to the Tom H. Good to see you. I don't get that either. Hawkins, to me, is not quick. He is small. I mean, you saw what happened on the end around pitch. I mean, if you just hit him with an arm, he goes down. I will still forever wonder if people said, okay, we have to get rid of Taylor Gabriel because he's a midget, why you would have held on to Andrew Hawkins. That I don't understand. I don't think that he is a player who will mean anything to the Cleveland Browns this year whatsoever. And Wable saying Coleman will be fine, only needs to catch one. He's too good. Well, he didn't catch one in the preseason either. He dropped everything that was thrown to him in the preseason too. I haven't seen him catch one yet. So, and I was really surprised that Barnage dropped two. That is not his MO. Might be nerves, might be just not being comfortable in yet another offensive scheme. I'll tell you, the one thing that I really liked that I saw was the three-man offensive line. Did you see that with trips to the right? That was the dropped pass by Corey Coleman. That offensive set was really kind of interesting. I've not seen that before. But, of course, it presupposes that you don't have many men up front to block, and you've got to make a quick read and get rid of the ball quickly. But he was wide open. The fact is they spread the field, and I like that alignment. I hope we see that again offensively once Gordon is around, because if you can spread the field that way, it's going to be pretty significant. From a statistical perspective, I'd say that the Browns need to get the Eagles off the field. And you need to put pressure on the quarterback and keep him in a 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 situation so that Ray Horton can run some of his blitz schemes. We saw Kindred get into the backfield a couple of times. He's the only secondary guy I can say that I even noticed, except for Hayden stopping a pass in the end zone. Wable saying, wish they would give Crow a rest and put in the new guy. Who's the new guy? Crowell is your best running back. Duke Johnson is your best catch pass receiving running back. And I don't want to see anybody else out there, to be very honest with you. This is not tryout time. This is a game that you're actually getting the ball back in the second half with a chance to take the lead in a game. It is still a close football game, even though it didn't start out looking that way. And again, had it not been for a hideous pass way behind Corey Coleman by RG3 and the pick that ensued, this game might even be different in terms of us being ahead, because it looked like we were starting to push them around offensively. So, the new guy was cut from Oakland. What do I want to see a guy who was cut from Oakland for? No, thank you. I want to see Crowell get his reps, and I want to see if the Browns can get some yardage on the ground. As far as what to look for in the second half, it's all about adjustments. And we'll see if Doug Peterson's a man of his word and he continues to put his rookie quarterback in situations where there can be some risk, or if in fact they're going to settle down and start trying to hammer the ball at the Browns via the ground game and just use ball control to hold on to possession. As far as offensively, what do I expect to see? I was happy to see that there were a few screen passes thrown and completed that got yardage, but we need to have more than Terrell Pryor out there. You got to have wide receivers who catch the football. And honestly, in the first quarter of the game, a wide receiver did not see a football. We were throwing strictly to the tight ends and the running backs, and it does, again, bring up the question, if Coleman can get open, can he catch the ball? But beyond that, who can get into the secondary? I don't believe that Hawkins is large enough to get that. I don't know. I don't know who the other receivers are. We haven't seen Rashard Higgins. We haven't seen any of the young guys, Ricardo Lewis. Instead, we're just kind of living with guys who look like they're retreads. And if they're not getting off the line of scrimmage, that's not going to help RG3 at all. And the one thing we haven't seen yet are any plays that were really run for RG3 to run the football. I think you're going to see a little bit of that in the second half of the game. But right now, I'd say that we are 1 to 2 wide receivers short of a load. And without, and that's going to make life very difficult for RG3 because there's nobody who's really open consistently. And it also makes things very hard for Terrell Pryor, who's learning a new position and is basically the most prolific receiver we have on the field, even though he is so inexperienced. I mean, he's got less experience than Corey Coleman running patterns. So, I picked this game as a 24-13 win for the Eagles. I still don't see it any differently. Let's see what happens. Good to see the Reverend Kowalski in the chat room as well. Everybody make an effort to zip over to the post-game show after the game. We'll be right here, and we'll be talking about the Browns, and I'll have a special guest co-host who is going to be joining me after the game. So let's go ahead and get together after the game and see what we end up with. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and I'll see you right after the game. So good luck, Browns, in the second half, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.